So here we are. Taylor was just saying that this is actually going to be a D&D online session. So what's everyone's class going to be?
Dice ready.
I'm going to be
no idea what you're talking about.
I'm going to be a mage orc warhog.
Necromancer.
Of course, Rob's a necromancer. Right, well, great for joining us, guys. Thanks a lot. The White Brothers, here we are. Fucking lineup 2 of We Came From Wolves. And yeah, as I was saying to the guys yesterday, it's next year is 10 years of the Wolves, which seemed quite poignant since we've been in this lockdown to have a wee catch up with the people that made it what it was. So yeah, I guess just to roll off, we'll just be as natural as we can, just have a laugh and stuff. But a couple of questions along the way. Early on, what are the memories of you guys getting into the band? What were your thoughts about it at the time? What did you think was kind of going to be, I don't know, the goals, or just your general early memories?
I still remember getting picked up near Glasgow bus station to for that leg of the, well, no, I think I was with you guys on the tour for about 2 weeks, but I think I only played 3 shows.
Yeah, so
that was the big tour, wasn't it?
That was that was the one, all like the O2s and things.
You filled in for Eggy because he couldn't get off work. That was like your first kind of introduction to it.
I think that was like my first actual proper tour. Like, it just kind of felt like a bit of a crazy holiday for me at the time.
That was a good tour as well. It was a fucking good time.
It was just just a van walking up and me chucking my guitar and jump in. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm on the road for a bit now. And yeah, just having a great time, really.
You know, Harrison, I'll come back to you in 1 wee second, but you've not used this story enough, Taylor. And when you were in the band, I always thought, man, if this was in my locker, I'd be fucking pulling this out all the time. Remember, 2 or 3 shows from the end, you had a wrestling match with one of the boys from A Plastic Rose and just said you had a bit of a sore arm. Played 3 more shows and then got home and you'd had a broken arm.
Oh, shit, yeah, I remember that.
That's almost accurate. It was that... Oh, man. It was that night when we ended up not playing the show.
Because, the Birmingham one.
Well, because Block Party were playing, and we were like, well, we'll just go see Block Party instead. Which I think we maybe saw about 1 song. No,
the promoter said to us, we've double booked, we're really sorry. Yeah. And we went, how could you have? Who is it? And they went, Block Party. And we went, all right. And they went, look, legally, you can play if you want in a smaller room, or we can pay you and you can just party tonight. And we went, sweet.
Yeah, we got Triple H, didn't we? And did we not try and get into Block Party's dressing room and stuff?
I have no recollection of that. Maybe you did.
It was very messy, wasn't it?
Separated. And I ended up with a couple of guys from Plastic Road just cutting about trying to find everybody. And then I remember it was like me and Louis ended up it was in the Travel Lodge, and someone was like, they were wrestling and ended up getting involved. I ended up throwing a punch that ended up breaking my hand.
Oh, fucking hell, man.
You can see how...
Oh yeah,
how different it was that bone down there. Can you see the knuckles?
Yeah.
But I don't have the picture, but I had a picture of me in the elevator with my hand looking like I'd blown up a rubber glove. And then I didn't think I'd broken it, and I just strapped it up with duct tape, if I remember correctly. And I guess just kind of soldiered on. To be honest, I probably should have gone to hospital because my hand still gummed. But yeah, that was funny.
That was a good time, man. So yeah, that was your kind of first recollection, and then the kind of offer came in when obviously Eggy found out that tour that he was pregnant with. He wasn't pregnant. That would be amazing. His wife was pregnant, yeah, and then obviously it was like the natural decision for us to ask you because you'd obviously fucking nailed it on the road with us for, a good while anyway. But Harrison, what's your memory?
think I remember, like, I can't remember exactly, but obviously I knew Taylor was off on the tour. I think I was, like, partially jealous because it sounded quite a lot of fun. And then I think he, like, when he came back and knew he was getting offered to, like, join the band proper, I can't remember exactly, but I think that, like, I don't know if I knew that, like, Chick was potentially, like, on the fence, or if I just was saying it, like, kind of, like, randomly, or if only I could join as well or something. Can't remember how it actually went, but whatever happened when it came that we could both sort of join the band at the same time, it was obviously fucking cool. Because I think we always obviously played together and done various different bands, so we're quite kind of keen to play together. And yeah, I can't remember the exact. I can't remember the exact details of when we first all met or anything, but I feel like it went pretty quickly from that to then, like, playing some shows and doing some practices in Glasgow and stuff. So
yeah,
we'd gone to a couple of Wigs and Rates shows, hadn't we, Cal? We were aware of you guys. I remember they played one that I can't remember what it was called now. It used to be Barcode. It was probably like Mondo's at that time.
Mondo's.
Yeah.
I mind, was that your album release show or something, or just a random show? But I remember me and Kyle went and saw you there. We had drinks and, like, just kind of caught up with you guys. I think that was the first time I'd met you as well that time.
Yeah,
so.
I think
that was one of the shows that, like, my dad put on for us, basically quite embarrassingly, but ended up being pretty chaotic and mental and, like, ram-packed. In classic fashion, and my dad putting on shows for, like, mostly underages and it going tits up. I think in that case it didn't go too badly. It was actually quite a good one.
That was
classic Ian.
I remember this, not like just relevant to Wigs and Rakes. I remember we put on gigs at some like that hangar place.
The hangar in Scone.
In Scone, and then we had like a kind of big run of them. But then, to be honest, they weren't really. The first one went really well, and then I don't know why we thought it would be cool to basically just like keep putting on essentially the same show, but we had to call them off because, like, there was just so much underage drinking. The place just, like, I think the second or third one got, like, shut down.
It's basically too much fun. It got ended.
Sorry, lads, this is too much banter. But yeah, we kind of discussed that last night. So Eggy was obviously having to leave, and for good reason, you know, starting his family. And at that time, it was kind of a natural. Chick was doing a lot of other projects, and we discussed this last night. Like, I would never ever want. Chick was someone I grew up. He, like, inspired me to want to play. He had been amazing at, and is amazing at, writing songs and singing. And at that time, I just wanted someone that was focused on being a drummer. So I couldn't have asked him not to do it, and I wouldn't have wanted to. So it was like, yeah, you go and reform PMX. They'd been taking a break, and that was a natural point. Us changing the lineup, we thought, right, we'll just do it rather than Chick not being sure about what he was going to do. And yeah, as Rob says, we'd kind of scouted you out from that show. And obviously, you were Taylor's brother. It was just made absolute perfect sense. And yeah, it was an absolute great decision because, you know, that first version of the band was amazing. It was our best friends we grew up with. And then this was like, right, it was all about, like, still great guys, but right, let's treat this a wee bit more, like, serious. Let's try and do something, you know. And we did some fucking cool shit.
We did, yeah.
Let's see. Right, so let's get into straight off the bat. What's the best gig or tour memories? A lot on this one.
The whole Bratislava thing's definitely up there for me.
Oh man,
that's kind of a bit of an obvious pick.
But I mean, just explain for anyone, like, what it wasn't just like getting a wee EasyJet from Glasgow. It was a fucking mammoth journey for one gig.
Well, it was kind of just like a wee weekend holiday where we played one. Because did we not basically get off the plane and then play a show?
Yeah, we played that night. So
and then
that was
there for the weekend.
Yeah, it was Waves Festival, like Bratislava and Vienna, wasn't it? So we played Bratislava. I know we drove down from Glasgow, didn't we, with Dicey, our manager, the great man himself. Flew from Stansted over at Bratislava. There's an amazing video, actually. Remember the video we did, Kyle, of me pretending to be asleep all the way through the airport and wake me up in Bratislava, lads.
Oh, yeah.
And then Taylor actually did fall asleep on the way back and almost got left there.
Oh yeah, we left you in the gate, didn't we?
Right, let's compartmentalize
so-
these are all worthwhile. So yeah, we drove from Glasgow down to London, and then we got to Bratislava. We got picked up by a man in a car who spoke no English and looked like a Bond villain. We didn't know where we were going. We got to the club, we got to the hotel first, and it was like the Plaza Bratislava, like
Yeah, like the 5-star amazing hotel, wasn't it? We were like, are we supposed to be in here? It's a bit posh for us.
Oh, yeah, it was really... it was nice.
yeah. And they had asked us like what we needed, so they rented all this shit for us, and then we were just started like having a laugh, getting set up, getting ready to play. Played at like what? 12 midnight, 1 a.m, something like
It
that.
was really late, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was late, yeah.
Casey Denage, what a place.
Oh, Casey.
Unreal. And then yeah,
Still the best pint of Heineken anyone's ever had, probably.
unbelievable.
Oh, it was so good, wasn't it? And when there was the disco on after it, like the disco, it was like a rave, basically, wasn't it? Met Vic Galloway's missus.
Complex was really cool, and there was like not all the floors were used. So like you'd go from like a club to like feeling like you were in a zombie movie, and then like into a bar all of a sudden. It was really weird.
And then
Yeah, such a cool spot.
we stayed up. We didn't want to go to sleep because we wanted to get into the pool, and it didn't open till 6:30. And do you remember when we did get in the pool? So we'd been traveling all day, and then we're drinking like mad. And then we got in the pool and we're doing like backstroke and stuff, like reading newspapers and that. And the women's coming in going, "What the fuck? What the fuck?"
Was it not that random guy?
Random Scottish guy.
Yeah, Glasgow stranger.
That was the second night, I think. I've got no recollection of being in the pool. Did that happen?
Yeah, that happened. And that guy was chatting to me, like chewing my ear off. Like he was really complimentary about us. But then it started becoming like he was like a raging drunk. So he started going like that. You think, you're the best band in Scotland and that. I was like, come on, man, like, well, thanks a lot. But, and then he was like, you think you're absolutely brilliant, don't you? And I was like, what? And then he was like, we're sitting in a steam room at this time, 5 a.m. or whatever. I've been up for 40 hours. He's like, how about me and you just square go right now? I'm just sitting in my box. I was like, what?
I remember feeling like he was just a total liability. I
told him to get to fuck, and then the next thing I remember is Rob like shaking me, going like steaming, like, Kyle, you've been in here for fucking 45 minutes. And I was like, but yeah, we had a good time in Bratislava after that. But Taylor, yeah, so we got to the airport after like literally 72 hours of like maybe 5 hours sleep. And, we're all like literally sleeping on the floor of the fucking airport. And Andrew woke us up one by one, but hadn't woke up Taylor. We're like, Andrew, wait. This is too good. I mean, the guys there, like the queue, the boarding people, they're not going to let him just sleep there. So we all went on the plane and then we're like, shit, he's not on yet. They're starting to move that fucking big ladder away. And then bursting in the door of the plane, you bastards.
I just remember waking up like at the terminal, I guess it was called, with a backpack in my, like sitting cross-legged on the floor, like asleep on my backpack, with like a queue of really polite people all still behind me, and some guy being like,
I just remember thinking like, my mom's going to kill me.
Imagine it had gone wrong, or gone very right, that as a prank. But fucking hell, man, that would be the funniest thing I've ever talked about in my life. Here's some Bratislava pants.
Oh dear.
Oh,
God.
That must have been the pool, so I guess you were there.
No recollection.
Backstage, isn't it?
Remember we were all doing just a bit of dancing. It was like we got to wake ourselves up.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh no, I don't remember that.
Went for a jaunt about the city, didn't we?
This was the
on stage.
Plush stage, but
You Kyle invented the dab.
yeah, exactly. Look at the guitars, man. Like
they gave us nice stuff. I remember it was like proper nice Strats, and I remember getting one of those like They're like those 4x10 Fender combos that are just like louder than they ever need to be ever.
100%.
And I was like, I'll turn that up to about 1.
Oh, it's too loud.
Yeah, it was too loud at 1.
But yeah, that was a
brilliant.
fucking great time. What other amazing ones was it? I mean, obviously,
Not big in the park.
I was about to say, it's
Yeah,
quite a
that's
good gig.
Well, that was
Yeah,
class.
decent, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I still remember, obviously, playing tea in the park on the Saturday, opening the tea break stage, and like we'd had all the excitement of the weekend, and we'd got all set up, and it was all cool. And then I think because we were first up, like obviously there was no one in the tent, and I think we hadn't clocked that they hadn't let anyone in, so we were just kind of like, I remember having a wee huddle like backstage, being like, it doesn't matter if there's no one here, like we've done this, it's like a great achievement. I think all of us were like expecting to play to no one basically, or like our friends and family, whatever. And then literally in the 5 minutes that we'd gone from like sound check to then walk off, grab a water and a beer, we walked back out and it's like packed. And it was so good that we were like already happy, even if it was empty, because it was just such an achievement to be there. And then it was like we walk out and it's packed, and that was like probably the fastest 25 minutes of my life. But
totally.
it was
A total blur, wasn't it?
Mate, that's really cool that you remember that, because like I always think I remember things amazingly, and I didn't remember that wee huddle, but I totally do now. And we just,
we literally like, it was like, look at boys, doesn't matter, like we did this, doesn't matter about the crowd, like we're gonna smash this. And literally turned around and there's like 500 people there or something, and it's like
probably more, man.
Do you remember we had the night out the night before, and I nearly fucked it for us, like genuinely.
Your
remember
voice was knackered, wasn't it?
Do you not remember? Like I always can do my standard warm up in the morning of. So we went out to we played a show at Mucky's the night before Tea in the Park.
Where? What, at the green room?
Yeah, green room.
Yeah, it was a Thursday night, wasn't it? And then we had a mad one there.
Like a pre-tea in the park. I remember we had the banner
up at the back. Absolutely rammed.
And we were just thanking everybody, and we went to the loft after, like Rob says, and there's no smoke to be blown. People were just really happy for us, so like we were getting treated like royalty. It was like Perth was happy one of their own was going to do a good thing. It was the same when Allergo back in our day played. Everyone was like, boys, drinks are on us and that, and we were smashed. And I don't know if you guys know, but I'm quite loud when I'm drunk, so yeah. And then the next day I remember trying to do my warm-up, and honestly it was like I was like, oh my, and it was so bad. And we had to find a chemist, remember? We found one in Kinross, and we're doing the warm-up, and I was just saying, boys, if I need to sing this like low, I'll just have to sing the low ones. And yous were like, fuck it, it's done now. And it's the only time in my life in the band where it was like a higher power. Honestly, brought me through. It was like the adrenaline of the occasion. Like you said, maybe seeing everyone there. I really think I'm so pernickety about gigs. I don't think we would have changed anything about that performance. It was fucking.
Well, that was one of the best.
I don't really remember anything about it.
The only thing I changed, man,
was like, could you notice? I feel like you remember where you kind of maybe lost focus more. So the fact that we don't really remember probably is just an indication that we were all just kind of on the ball,
Yeah, 100%. That's the night before. Look at Rob. Rob's really enjoying that.
I can't see anything.
That's the night. That's the night before.
What the hell's in your mouth? It's your blue tongue.
What's going on there?
Mind the green room used to get lollies. Yeah.
And then this was us like 6 a.m. or something. Oh no, it can't be. That must have been the day after.
No, I think that was the morning of.
Yeah, that's people camping. You're right. Yeah, and then
I think it's like the Saturday morning or the Friday night, maybe.
Man.
I always think it's a shame there's not more footage from that, because like there's like the highlights, but it's like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I mind it all got recorded and then it like mysteriously got lost or something.
No, there's a highlight clip, but it's about 10 seconds of us tops. It's a shame.
I mean, you're right, man. We walked out to that. And when a minute ago, there was no one there.
Literally, we're like, okay, we'll play it 2 people, we'll be fine.
So that's really cool. But no, you're right. So I don't know if you guys this is another one that's kind of on me. I think we did a lot of good things right, but obviously you make some mistakes you learn from. But they told us that they would give us 6 passes, and that they recommended we gave 1 to our manager, we took a photographer, a videographer, and then had 3 for either press or friends. But what we did was just take 6 mates. Because we were like, fuck it, it's Tea in the Park. So yeah.
Nah, I think that was the right thing to do.
You know, I mean,
like, I swear we got some day passes as well. I can't remember exactly.
yeah, no, we did, mate. Yeah, we did. But I mean, yeah, it's just one of these things. Like the day we had was unbelievable. Here's a good picture of kind of everyone that joined us as well. But like the party we had after, like, oh, it's not got all the people there, but yeah, man, just great memories. But everyone that was with us, it was absolutely great. So yeah, we could have had a video of it, and we could have been watching that, or we could have had 6 or really close mates and just had a class day. More people having those memories, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had some belters, man. Another one, we don't need to go into hundreds of details, but unfortunately you weren't on this tour, T, because it was near the end of when you guys were leaving, and Harrison was good to this final one, but I think you had uni stuff in that. And do you remember the bar tab at Balcom?
Oh,
Oh, Jesus.
That was what was the band called?
Blockheads.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
the bar
God.
tab to end all bar tabs, wasn't it? Like,
No, but it
don't tell
wasn't a
Scottish
bar tab.
guys.
It was just free. We just stole it, right?
Yeah, no, but they had to ring it all through. And in the
Oh,
morning,
God.
Rich was like, fucking hell, boys, 946 quid.
Fucking rock and roll, isn't he?
And then I was like, I took him aside and I was like, look, mate, we're not trying to take the piss here. We just didn't stop because it was free. I mean, I was like, but 100% take the fee back, and whatever you feel is appropriate. If it's the whole thing, let us know and we'll split it. There's no taking the piss here. You always look after us. He was like, fucking hell, son, that's not very fucking rock and roll. He's like, don't worry about it, you dickhead.
Oh man, what a guy!
Oh, what an absolute legend, man. And still is, you know, still treats us like we're his sons. So good, man.
I remember old Mark Benz was behind the bar with like a 2-litre bottle of OBD because we'd scalped it, and in walks Rich. He's like, fuck, caught red-handed, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a night to behold. Remember we had the catering before, and like we were eating that toast and it had like pecans in it, and I was like, oh, feeling a bit weird, like my eyes are all bloodshot and that. Just happily eating this toast, and Kyle was like, yeah, that's fucking nuts, man. I was like, oh shit.
Thought it was going to be Nutgate too.
Nutgate too.
Yeah, there's a memory right there.
I know.
That coronation chicken sandwich that you should have eaten in the van.
Well, we told that story last night. Yeah, it's so funny. Well, it wasn't funny at the time, but it is now.
We talked about that and Rob's twisted balls. So it was like nuts and nuts.
Oh, man.
Oh, mate. Right. I guess that we can come back to any tours or gigs we think of. But what about kind of being in the studio? What's memories from that? Like, I think all of us, just to set my tone without going into it, all of us are quite similar in how pernickety we are with things. So I wouldn't say studios were ever like a stress-free time for this version of the band, but I think they always sounded fucking class.
Well, we weren't like, I think we would, we would just get kind of picky about stuff sometimes. And then I just remember being like, I can play fine if that red light's not flashing, but as soon as the red light starts flashing, I take so many takes. I think I'm better now. I just remember a few times just Bruce being like, right, you've got one more shot of this, or you're just not gonna get a play.
Oh, man, it was the Ice King's fault, man. He done you.
Ice King fucking cursing you.
Oh, hang on, hold up.
What was the first one we recorded in this version? Bastard Sons?
Yeah, it's Paradise Place EP, wasn't it? So Bastard, The Way to Live Forever, Paradise Place, and Stallions.
So we were talking about that last night. Obviously,
To the studios, you know.
there he is. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was on the Ampeg, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So obviously we were talking about that last night. It was quite a change in direction, I guess. So Bastard Son and Stallions were kind of like moving on from Cope stuff to a wee bit more punky. And then we obviously had you two guys in the band. Your taste was slightly different. So A Way to Live Forever was kind of maybe meet in the middle, and then Paradise Place was a wee bit more of like an indie vibe, wasn't it? But they were all really cool. I loved them all, but very different for an EP, like each song.
I think it was kind of weird, like the three other than Paradise Place were like the songs I remember playing almost as like our auditions for the band, or like when we first started practicing. Like those were like the new songs that you guys were looking to play. So like doing that, and then in combination with Paradise Place, which was like a song that I think me and Taylor had almost like partially written, like
It was already
prior to becoming the band. So it was quite a natural like combination for an EP, which I thought was quite cool.
Yeah, I remember us writing like some of it. It was quite like it was like almost like a mini epic with about 20 different songs. I remember us like cutting it down so much, and it was still like 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, it was one. I remember he was bringing it to us, and I thought all the bits were really cool. But just obviously because we all have different ways we would write a song, my brain couldn't figure out what my vocals were going to do, and I was like, "Let's put it into this structure." I remember you guys being a bit like, "Oh no, that's just the pre-chorus, the da-da-da-din, da-da-da-din, and then it was like your vision like just moved on, and I was like, "No, it should repeat that," and you were like, "No, that's a terrible idea." But I think that was one where, we worked on it in one practice session. It was like your idea, and we compromised here and there. And by the end of it, we were all just like, that's a fucking belting tune. And stick by that. If you've not listened to that for a while and then I switch that on, I'm thinking, that's a really well composed track,
I'm going to have to give it that for a long time.
It's funny, that song, I was chatting to a guy at work, like this like super senior guy at work, and I saw he had a drum kit in the background of his like Zoom background.
Yeah.
And he he ended up asking me, we chatted about the band, and he ended up asking me about like what songs he put out and stuff. And I sent him the link to Paradise Place on YouTube, and he's now like our number one fan. I think it's an absolute fast tune.
Quality.
Nice. It's like the right partner who had an electric kit in his living room.
That's class. Yeah, I think it was a really good one. I also think A Way to Live Forever was really like underrated. I don't think it was quite a hard one to figure out live. I think
I don't know if it was that. I remember us all kind of feeling that one would land a bit more than it did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it was maybe the most distinct from the other ones, which might have been the issue. But that was one that I honestly think I only really remember playing that live like once, maybe.
I think we played it like initially when we first formed.
We played on that tour, didn't we? Yeah.
And then we didn't for ages. And then I think we played it a couple of times towards the end of that era. But like it was a long time it wasn't in the set.
Yeah, because I remember like we did the Paradise Place tour, didn't we? When we played like places like Ayr and did we play Dundee on that tour? I can't remember. We played about 5 or 6 places, didn't we, in Scotland? And I remember, we played it loads there, and then it just kind of, I don't know, it was like it didn't seem to grab the crowd as much as like Stallions or Bastard or Paradise Place, wasn't it? So
I think
it was a bit.
I think that's true. I think that was an evaluation. Like we literally took stock of that. We're like, we love this tune, but when we're playing it, it's kind of it's taking a little dip. Which
it felt like a bit of a dip in the show. That was for sure.
Which
I think as well, it didn't really kind of lend itself to smaller venues as well, did it? Like we were still kind of when we did the Paradise Place tour and that, we were still kind of playing like, kind of places like Block and smaller places, and then we eventually started playing a few bigger shows. Obviously, like Tea in the Park, and that was a massive show. And I think when you listen to some of the videos from the crowd and that there of that tune, it sounds absolutely massive. But yeah, in like smaller venues, it didn't. Just kind of, I guess, the scale and stuff of itself Whereas your kind of punkier, heavier ones, like Bastard and Stallions and that, yeah, they were like bangers for those size of shows.
They maybe just had too long an intro.
Yeah, possibly. Here's some shots from the first recording sessions. Remember that loadout?
Oh yeah.
I'm just laughing at me in every photograph because I still hadn't really figured out how to stand like a normal person yet. Or just like in every picture.
I remember it was like August or something, wasn't it, when we recorded, man, and it was about 400 degrees in the studio.
It was absolutely belting. That's me, like you can actually see me grimacing. I'm like, can I come out of here, please?
Let me out.
Ice King.
Oh,
There it is.
Try to keep me cool.
That's funny. I forgot about that as well.
Here, see, talking
I
about
remember like doing my last drum take and drinking about 3 liters of like shit energy juice and having about 5 boost bars and literally just like getting it done, and then when I finished being so shaky I couldn't even pack up.
The drummer always gets treated like royalty on drum day, doesn't he? It's like, you want a biscuit? Like hand feeding you and all that. every lineup I've ever been in. It's like, do you want a juice? Do you want something? You know, where everyone's like so excited and that. And like day 2, like, you know, the bassist Rob's like, oh, you couldn't get me a drink. He's like, fucking get it yourself.
That's true, man.
How could we, when we were talking about gigs, like twice we've sold out the El Tats boys.
Aye, so
Yeah.
Some good shit.
man. Never got any whiskey though.
Remember got haircuts. That was good.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Oh, that's the album release show, isn't it?
No. That was ABC. This is still Tats.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. ABC was a good show as well. Where's that one? That was when Harrison went all arts and crafts and made us an absolute epic banner.
Oh, I spent about 3 weeks of my life for one show. Never getting that time back.
Was it just?
No, think of that.
Was that just all tape?
No, it was paint. I used like big, hefty like masking tape to make the like stencil, and I just painted it.
Yeah.
And then it got folded up really badly and ruined, and they could never be used again.
It did look class for that one gig.
But it was really good for that one show, yeah.
Oh man, there was definitely better pictures than that.
Yeah,
but that was
there's
that
good
was
pictures
class.
from that show. I can't remember. The sound was class that show as well.
It was, man.
Yeah,
And
it was
that was
really good,
another.
wasn't it?
That was another sold out one.
Yeah, we sold out a lot of shows on, that kind of era, didn't we, man? Especially like, obviously, kind of Perth's a kind of given because that's where we're from, but like, Glasgow and that, yeah, like, just seemed to be every show we played in Glasgow was like sold out around that time.
The Loft, sold out Loft.
That was a
Like,
fun
we
show
played-
as well.
Yeah, that
I
was
forgot
great.
all about
Fun show because it was
yeah,
like
that was amazing.
it was quite unique. Like we basically created
Yeah.
a gig venue within that club. It was cool.
Oh, here it is. Here's your banner in all its glory, mate.
Yeah, that's a great shot. Shout out to Andy Mills.
Mhm.
Always brought the class
There we
shots
go.
whenever we played.
100%.
I could have probably made a career out of making those banners.
You should have, mate. You would sell them a lot cheaper than what other people sell them for.
All I
Yeah.
can do is a really big W, but it'll be class, I swear.
Yeah.
Remember
They're all
the
going to be
other
Ws.
banner we got? Remember the other banner we got, the vinyl one, and I think it was me and you, Harrison. We went to like Castle Milk or somewhere, like a really dodgy part of Glasgow, to pick it up from some industrial estate, and it was like sketchy as fuck, man.
That's
I
that one.
don't ever remember using it. Was it shit?
No, that's
No,
that
it
one.
was. We used it on for the Paradise Place tour. Remember when we played? Was it Sleazy's or was it Broadcast? That's it.
With black writing.
Yeah, that's it there.
Yeah, that was all right.
Yeah, what we talking about these gigs? It was Sleazy's, wasn't it? This one here.
No, that's Broadcast, isn't it?
Mark?
It's on a block.
No, that is
No.
Broadcast. You're right. That's Broadcast. Yeah, fucking hell.
Well, yeah, I mean, we played Broadcast and Sleazy's quite a lot in that kind of era, didn't we? There's the banner in all its glory. Fadeless Rob.
Who did that, Harry?
Yeah, that was homemade. Turns out I'm quite the arts and craftsman, aren't I?
I know, man.
Wasted behind the pots and pans, man.
The arts and craftsmen, I like that. So yeah, if we're talking about recording as well, remember this place? Where are we?
Oh, I think I know where you're going. Yeah,
Oh,
yes.
I always remember
Top five.
just being confused about the rug.
Yeah, the
What was
dog
it?
rug.
Doug, yeah.
No, it wasn't. No. It was
The doors.
it was the Doors. What's his name again? I always have to remember
Morrison.
the Jim Morrison. But I remember looking at it upside down and thinking it was like I was looking at a seagull's eye, that it was actually Jim Morrison's nipple the whole time.
Yeah, it's easy to get those two mixed up, man. I can understand why you're
Easily
confused.
done.
You want to figure out what all these tunes are?
Oh, wait a
Yeah.
minute, I can't really see that. So,
So what's-
Album Banger, Glasgow Stranger,
Is that all that is?
Yeah,
Wow.
Doom Bros, Where'd Your Love Go?
I must say
Yeah,
on record here, Album Banger was one I had nothing to do with until it came to vocals. Remember, I couldn't make training rehearsals that day. You guys just sent me a voice memo saying Album Banger, and I'll be totally honest, I wanted to have things to change just so like I was relevant. I was like, no, I certainly will have notes for this, and I just listened. I was like, fucking yes.
Nah, I'm pretty sure the pre-chorus was yours actually.
100%. Obviously, vocals were me, but nah, you wrote that song. The three.
Yeah, that was good. Just up in the attic, wasn't it? At the White House.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day.
So that's Glasgow Stranger. That's Where'd Your Love Go?
So hashtag is hashtag signed life, but what was the song?
Oh, is it Butterflies? I think
Butterflies.
it's Butterflies.
Butterflies, yeah.
Why do we butterflies?
What?
Because Butterflies isn't.
Is that by a process of elimination?
Yeah.
Well, partially, but also just because I remember.
Yeah, it is,
Probably is,
You
I can't
bet
remember what the song's called, but I know what song it is.
you backed
bet
the wrong
on us.
horse.
Yeah. Oh.
I think the rest are all just.
The same,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a bit
Selfish
more
Man is
self-explanatory.
Ruiner.
The rest are just what they're called, eh?
Selfish Man was Ruiner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Girl at the Bar was Validate Me.
I'm forgetting that those are actually the names of the songs. I almost still called those working titles.
But remember when we were playing the shows after on the album release tour and that, and we were writing set lists and stuff, and it was like Validate Me, and you're like, fuck, what song's that again?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think because I don't know if I'm getting confused about that as well.
This was our first promo shot. Look at this fucking
Oh, look at me. So
That's so good, man.
That's classic Roxy.
cool.
Delete that from the fucking internet right now, man.
I look so based. We all do.
Yeah.
This is a
I'm
later
about
one.
12.
I
look
like I'm just
younger
in
there.
front of some tuna.
Is that not in some random corner shop on Great Western
Yeah,
Road?
Great Western,
Yeah.
man. Mind we
Because we
tried
were
to
from-
go in that really cool supermarket place, and they were like, "Nah, beat it." And we're like, "All right, choose."
You thought we were devil worshippers.
Sorry.
Leave now.
I know.
I was trying to find a wee shot of us rehearsing in the morning, because that used to be every single Saturday, was just in your music room back in Perth.
Oh yeah, I remember just
in the morning, wasn't it?
sitting there in my dressing gown.
You'll be sad to know that's now a upstairs living room with a log fire. It's really sad.
I am sad to know that.
It's like an Airbnb now.
Oh, right. Okay. So this was after we played
Where the hell is that?
Travolta, wasn't it? This is when-
Where the fuck is that?
That's the Travelodge in Luton. So we played when we were in Europe.
That's fucking hilarious.
Is that after we got a flat tire?
Yes.
So I think that's the most tired I've ever been in my life.
And we got the worst pizza
Like
ever.
13 hours.
Oh,
Mind,
much details, but I remember the day after that pizza, we had to stop the van a few times for me.
remember how
Got
all
all
our
these
phones
pictures,
died?
but it's not easy to find them.
remember, like, we had to phone the AA because we had a blowout and couldn't work out how to get like the tire from underneath the transit van to change it.
Oh,
And everyone's phone had died, and Taylor's laptop had like 2% battery.
yeah, I was
So
about to say. And we
so
were
we,
like,
had to,
like a mat, like the holes in the laptop with the phone plugged into it. Like, oh no, we don't want to die.
But I think it was also because we literally Rob, you'd driven from Germany to within about an hour of our hotel in Luton. So it was the fact that we
it's like 13 hours or
down
something.
like 95% of the way through our journey.
Yeah, it was wild. And remember, you guys thought I was hearing things. So I was like, guys, this was the drive we did that day, I'm sure.
Helicopter.
Yeah, it was. That was us coming home, yeah.
So yeah, I was like, guys, I was in the back. I was like, hearing like, I was like, guys, it sounds like there's a helicopter tailing us. And you're like, nah. And I was like, no, honestly, let's pull over. And you're like, we've got no time for this, Kyle. No. Honestly, I think you should pull over. And yeah, there was a massive fucking nail in the tire. And then the boy's like, oh yeah, that would have been down to the fucking metal. You'd have been fucked.
Ah, man, that was such a good laugh because I think you were asleep for about 5 countries, Kyle, and then remember we stopped in Luxembourg to get some cheap tax-free fuel, and then I think you came awake then, but we'd been driving for about 6 or 7 hours. I think you were asleep as well, T.
Yeah,
Me and Harrison
they were awake for those journeys and they don't have a clue what happened.
Because we'd played Karlsruhe the night before, which was always a favourite of ours, and got plied with booze, which is great in Germany. They're amazing for it. And we got up in the morning, at night we were like, right, we could pack this up now and then we've got a hassle-free morning. Or we could just drink right now and do it in the morning. So we did that. I got up so hungover, don't remember a thing. I woke up in Luxembourg, went, where are we? And you went, oh, we've been through Belgium, France, Germany, whatever. And I was like, where's all my gear? You went, you were packing it into the van like 3 hours ago. I was like, no chance, mate. I don't remember a thing.
It was mad. That was such a good drive though, because I remember we'd been to the Karlsruhe loft the night before, hadn't we, Harrison? And then we got back. We got back at like stupid, like 4 a.m. or something. Mind, we were just drinking in the street, like walking down the road, and then like these cops pulled up, and we were like, "Shit, hide your beer!" And the guy was like, "Yo, on the street," and we were like, "Oh, fuck, sorry, mate. You can drink, just don't drink walking down the middle of a road." Like, all right, no worries.
Yeah, it's like, get on the pavement, man.
It's funny how my strongest memory of Karlsruhe is playing Monopoly.
Oh man, remember the Russian dude?
It was Scrabble.
What was his name? I can't remember his name, man.
That is
it translated to like lion or something, wasn't it?
The Russian guy.
No, I said he looked like a lion, and I thought he was going to batter me. Yeah. I said he looked like the lion at the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, and he was like a bit
that's
cold.
The Travelodge.
We had we had some Jaegers with him, and then he was like, we're all pals.
I remember this. So this was after it. We had to wait for 3 hours. So that the caption on this photo was, we've driven 15 hours today. We then were 20 minutes away from our destination and hotel for the night, and we had to fucking wait 3 hours for the AA guy. So luckily we'd packed some of these in the rucksacks, and we got these pizzas. And I remember literally Rob is actually sleeping there. It was like, didn't even have any pizza. We just had to go straight to fucking sleep.
Honestly, the tiredest I've ever been in my life, man. I think we'd driven like 13 hours or something at that point, man. On off about 3 hours sleep. But remember the gate? All the students were playing the games, Taylor.
Yeah.
And, but what was he saying? He was like,
I remember some guy like shaking some dice in his hand, playing Monopoly, is going bitter, and rolling like 9 and like freaking.
Yeah. It was so good. 9. Like, so German.
Rob, do you remember?
I played Scrabble, but it wasn't like it was slightly different letters because it was obviously like a German set.
I was just going to say that. We went back there like 2 years later, Taylor, and it was me, Rob, Andy and Brian, and we tried to play Scrabble really hungover, and we're all just getting this like absolute fear that we couldn't make any words because we were all just like umlauts and stuff like that. I can't spell anything.
Do you remember when we drove in, didn't we? It was like It was so good. It was like, because it was the student area, wasn't it? Where like
really
the thing was.
Place.
And then the day after we went and watched like an American football game, like on the campus that was like over the road and stuff.
We're just like in the park.
Yeah, it was so
Rob,
good.
Rob, do you remember what we first saw when we drove in?
Oh shit! Yeah. So we couldn't find it, could we? Because it was just in like what looked like a residential street. So there was like the kind of the street narrowed in like to like a bottleneck, and there was like a massive like metal kind of barrier, and I was like, what the fuck's this?
Before you say the punchline, finish what you're saying and then like hand it over to me, right?
So we drove in, and we were looking at sat navs, we were like looking out the window trying to find it, and we was like, right, boys, I'll turn the engine off. We've got plenty of time to load in and that. Let's just take stock and see where we are, eh? And then what
this
happened
is
next?
Honestly, like, you know, in a film, like Rob was saying last night, there's loads of stories that you think are embellishments, but we're all sitting in the van, like literally all, and it felt like eyes were on us, and we all just looked out different sides of the vans. So we were in the middle of like the red light district. But like they're not even giving a fuck. They're just stood there like. We're like, oh fucking hell, where are we going?
There was like gangsters and like semi-naked women everywhere, eh? We were just like casually rocked up in a transit van, like, how's it going, mate? You all right? Let's get the fuck out of here, boys.
It took us longer than we should have to realise where we were.
Wild, man. Honestly, we'd all like realised at the exact same time. It was like, look at your windy.
Did someone not like? Did someone not think we were like lingering weirdly and like come out with a bat or something? If I remember that,
probably.
I literally remember Rob like, "Oh shit, we need to go."
Aye, because there's 6 guys in a white van right outside them,
looking in the rearview mirror or something. I don't know. And some guy came out and was like batting hats.
Probably.
Yeah.
We had to get out of there sharp anyway. Luckily, the venue was like 100 yards behind us.
Hey, look, you can see where I am.
This is our album.
Made my oath
board.
to Satan.
Oh yeah, right enough.
Yeah,
that was such a good time, wasn't it? Recording with Bruce.
That's the finishing night. I had been making everybody necklaces for the celebration. Rob's got an ace of spade. They were all his old bass strings. Taylor's got leads. What was Bruce's? I don't know.
It was like ceremonial medallions.
It's a light bulb, and this was I called this the anal beads of choice, and I don't really know why.
Was it because you decided whether to use them or not?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like any musicians though that have ever been in the studio for an extended period of time will recognise the kind of insanity that you get. You just when you've been in a studio like doing long days, 12, 14 hours for like 2-3 weeks in a row, that just seemed like the greatest idea at the time, didn't it? And
100%.
It still is the greatest idea.
I think it's best for like, I remember like, I think in the first 2 days I got all my stuff out of the way, but I'd like taken the time off. It was like class time. I basically did nothing for like the second 2 weeks, apart from just like give everyone a hard time and just like chill out. It's great.
Amazing, eh? Right, since we're on the quick chat of recording, now this could be EP or it could be album. I don't know if we did any songs together after the album, but what's your guys' favourite songs we did together, and why? Like, is it because you like the style, or is it something about the construction, or even the production, or live?
I think Glasgow Stranger was always like a good one because that was like obviously our set opener quite a lot of the time, and that was just like a fun one to play. Same with Coraline as well. The kind of boppier ones are always like a good time to play. I guess kind of there was some. Yeah, I always enjoyed playing Back the Wrong Horse as well.
Yeah, I love that one. It's not like a complicated song, but I mean, I want to pass it to you boys because obviously I've asked you the question, but I also think as well, if you got the right crowd, if it was a quieter gig or not the best sound, Paradise Place was a wee bit like A Way to Live Forever. It could miss the mark. But see if you had a very busy crowd and loud amps and stuff, the slow build up to the bouncing to the crescendo of that song was huge. If you had the right crowd that gave you the time to get there, you know.
I think that was also one, because there was a lot of kind of bits and things. That was a less immediate one, and that was more that people got into after a while. And if people knew the stuff coming to the gig, then they enjoyed that one. Definitely.
If it was a crowd of your fans,
been into the band for a while, quite liked. But yeah, not necessarily the most immediate song.
Were you gonna say something, Harrison?
No, I was just gonna say. I think for me, it's like, I think it sticks out as like the tunes which go from being like quite quiet to having like huge parts. So I think it's like, one would be like Ruiner.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember like that huge. I think like the second or the third chorus, like recording the drum part on that, and just like being a bit worried I was going to break all my cymbals. So I was just like smashing as hard as I possibly could. Which I think when you listen back, it kind of comes across. You can tell it's like absolutely like guns blazing. And I think similarly, like I Need Somebody, when it comes in, in that big second chorus, like out of nowhere, it's all chilled, and then it's all like instantly huge. I think like it came across well live, but I think particularly in the studio format, where it's like you can just make it. I remember just like smashing the fuck out of those drums on that, and it's been really, really cool. So I think, selfishly for me, those were some pretty top moments.
100%, man.
It's not hard.
Yeah, it's pretty, caricaturistic of a drummer.
Do you have anything different to that, Rob?
I think for me, like, probably Paradise Place. I think just because it was like the first song that we'd written together, and I just remember it was it the first practice we had, or one of them anyway. I just remember that song coming together like really, really quick, and it just felt like really natural. And yeah, like you say, Kyle, if you had the right crowd, like just the build up, everyone would be singing the bass part, and then they'd be singing the lyrics, and then the bouncing bit for the breakdown, everyone would be jumping and that.
It's always like all he cares about is the bass part. Weird that, huh?
That's the one with the bass intro.
It's quite a good bass part.
But if that's not your text tone, what the fuck's life?
I do remember like being like in my parents' house, and you just kind of came out with that kind of out of nowhere. I don't know if you secretly had it up your sleeve the whole time, but you just kind of went out of nowhere.
I mean, not all of Rob's ideas hit the mark, but when they do, I mean, I do remember when he said
the groove.
Yeah.
Literally just hit an open D.
For everyone listening, Rob we were having one day when we were like, I just can't get an idea. We need another song, and Rob, and then he started getting really into it. And I was like, right, what happens after? He's like, oh, hang on, man. And I was like, so it's the same thing? He's like, yeah, man, it's brilliant.
I think he was trying to recreate the first 3 seconds of Queen's Another One Bites the Dust. Just keep that going. Dum, dum,
that was it. I was just in a moment there. But I think, the songs you guys have said, like, I think live and in the studio, I think that there's kind of like different songs you love. But I mean, I think for me, like, I remember when we were at Lochfine and we were doing the demos for the album, like what became I Need Something and Runa. I just remember like unashamedly, like, having tears in my eyes when we were recording those, man. It was just like the pure emotion in that, it was as soft as that sounds, but I think those songs always meant like so much to me, especially when we played them live and you had people like singing the lyrics back and stuff. And I will say when we were up to that Lochfine, like, we rented out, we were young guys, like, still, money's not easy, but back then, it was like,
a big undertaking to spend a few £100 to like rent a place in the age of like Airbnbs, and people do that all the time now. But it's quite a big, we could have just stayed in the house and done it, but we've said to ourselves, nah, we've got we've loads of bones of songs, probably like about 20, and we said, let's get these down to 15, and then from those 15, we'll work out 12 to take in the studio. And I remember some of them literally only had an intro. Like Am I Useful, all we had was, and then we just like spent hours just constructing the rest. And there were songs there that I'd never played on guitar. And I was like, learning it. And we were like, we'll literally like be in here from the morning till night, then we'll make some food, then we'll go back, we'll sleep, we'll get up early. And I mean, we were dedicated, even though it was young, man, but that was class. So when those songs were coming together, Rob, I think it was emotion, because it was like, we fucking just wrote this album in like a couple of days,
Yeah, 100%, man.
Rob, I can't believe Doom Bros isn't in your top 3.
I know.
Oh, mate, Doom Bros. I mean, talking about live, that tune was just like, it was so like, I don't know how to describe it. It was just like so dirty and so like sleazy and cool in that, wasn't it, man? It was so good. Like, see, playing that live, just how like that riff, man.
I remember being chuffed like when we were recording the guitar solo for it, because like I'm not a noodler at all. I'm like, no, I don't know any of the notes or anything like that, and I was just like, I'm just gonna wing a solo, and then kind of just like, I don't know, just like played loads of crap, and then kind of, obviously it's like a kind of messy, silly solo, and I guess that's what I'm gonna do anyway. But I remember being chuffed by like whatever the hell I played by mistake, and I think someone was like, "Where the hell did that come from?"
Yeah, I think, did we not say to you before, like, right, we imagine you're Josh Homme or something, and like this is a Queens of the Stone Age song, like channel that kind of like scuzzy vibe.
Oh, I feel like I'd try and do that anyway, I guess. But probably, yeah.
Sorry, boys. I just had to, I've got some beers here, but they're absolutely bagging me up after Nick's been away seeing her mum for the last few days. So I've just been eating like rubbish meals, and then she came home and cooked me proper food. So I'm struggling. In a great way. Struggling in a great way. Can't drink beers though.
Yeah, we were just talking about Doom Bros there, man. Just like kind of live, how like scuzzy and that it was, and Taylor was, where just like the solo just kind of came out of nowhere, and it just ended up being like, holy shit, man.
Yeah, so he didn't have that solo at the end, like the track you hear. We're just talking about your solo, Taylor. So like anyone listening to the album for Where'd Your Love Go, at the end it was just repeating it down, 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 better than. And then obviously we were like, you need a riff over that, and you were like, but I don't have anything, and we're like, just go for it. And it's so fucking good.
I was like, yeah, I was saying, I don't really know how to do guitar solos. Like, I can learn guitar solos, but just like, I'm not a very good improviser. Like, I don't really have much fretboard knowledge. Exactly. So
sounds good.
Although that song live, I was just like, I'm just gonna move my fingers about and hope for the best. And sometimes it would be cool, sometimes it wouldn't be.
Oh, it was great, man. Absolutely.
Sometimes shit.
Yeah, I can always just I can always just fall back on making a silly noise. That'll do.
Right. What's the worst place we ever stayed? And let's maybe not name names, but is there any shockers in your memory?
It's got to be that. I can't remember that house in Essex. With Rob's friend, the guy who worked on the roofs.
Oh,
shout out to the end, Mr. Fiend.
It was a nice house. It was just you guys were getting absolute wrecked. I went to bed.
I think you went to bed, didn't you, Kyle, Mark? It was my birthday. It was a Monday night, wasn't it? Have you not played the Windmill in Brixton? A Monday night of the all-time best night ever to play a gig is a Monday. And yeah, we went back there. They really sorted us out. Put some beers on that, and yeah, me, you and Harrison Me and Harrison stayed up pretty much all night, didn't we? I was supposed to drive to York. We were playing Fibbers the next night, weren't we?
Yeah.
I was supposed to drive. Obviously, that wasn't going to happen since I'd not had any sleep and was still drunk. Remember, like, did I not time boot the door in, Kyle? I was like, fucking hell, boys, right, it's 5 to 7. We need to leave in like 2 minutes. Oh my God, fucking let's get out of here. Come on. And you were like, what's happening, man?
I was like, absolutely not, mate. I'm having a shower. Like, we're meant to leave at 9. You were like, aye, but the traffic is going to be terrible. We got to go now. We got to go now. I was like, calm the fuck down, man. I've had one shower this whole tour, and there's a shower here and clean towels. It's happening. But yeah, no, that was a fine place to stay. It was just you boys were hungover to fuck.
I think speaking of similar situations, Huddersfield, I think again, fantastic place to stay. The bunk beds, but then on to Bolton the next night. That was quite a eventful 48 hours.
Holy shit!
We stay in Bolton?
God, Huddersfield.
Because I remember the venue, and I remember walking about Bolton, and it was like, this is England, but like just full of like chavs and fucking
Harrison.
scumbags,
So
man.
yeah, we were on the worst hangover. Look, so Huddersfield, like again, parish is unbelievable. Here's like a little. This was us getting prepped. So they give you so many outside of like Europe.
God.
Outside of Europe, it's the place that like looks after you the best I've ever seen in the UK. Oh, yeah. Balcombe. No, Balcombe takes up. It's second. Like you get your own room with bunk beds, like tons of beers. I mean, it's standard on the continent, but here that's like unheard of.
Yeah.
And, we just got absolutely obliterated. And then the next day we had like the worst fear ever. Every one of us, driver, Merck, all of us. And
I remember like Taylor sitting. We packed up the van in the morning, and Taylor was like sitting like, or maybe like sort of squatting down like next to the van, not able to get in.
I think that is the worst I've felt in my life. I didn't drink tequila for about 3 years after that.
Remember after the show, it was like a midweek show, wasn't it? And there wasn't very many people in the place, but the barman, I can't remember his name now, man, but he was so sound. He was getting on it with us. Yeah. It was like, so I think you and Taylor Harrison had pulled your money together because you didn't have much money. Well, none of us did, to be fair. And it was something crazy, wasn't it? No, Taylor never had any money. It was something mad, like about 5 shots for like £3 or something. And I'm sure you spent.
I think it was a £5 for 3 shots, and me and Harrison go up and give him a £5 each, and then just go bam, bam, bam. But then we were just, I don't know. I guess we just got carried away. Didn't really think about like pacing ourselves, and I don't really. I'm fuzzy, but I remember one of you guys having a video of me dancing around some poor guy that like passed out on the bar like an absolute idiot. As in I was the idiot. I guess he maybe was too.
This is what you're talking about the next day. So Taylor, we were ready to go and we just couldn't. So Mark was like, I'll take a photo of me, but we all knew what we were taking a photo of. I mean, that's some pack, though.
I used to be the Van Tetris, eh? That was my specialised subject, Van Tetris. So I remember you and Taylor Harrison, you got shipped off the bed pretty early. I mean, it was still quite late, wasn't it? Because after the gig had finished, this was maybe like, 10:30, 11 or something. And then me, Kyle, and Merck started on some heavy drinking with a barman, man. He was just giving us like crazy deals, wasn't it? Like big shots.
Like starting out of the Wild West, like you see a Western movie. It was like pouring our drinks and then pouring one from cell and flicking them over. And like, I was just saying he was buying us drinks because we were spending that much money. But where I was going with that was we've established it was a heavy night. So we're walking through Bolton, and there might be nice parts of Bolton, but I've never seen them. And
nobody has.
We're walking through, and it's smash windy after smash windy. And I mean, I went to school in Muirton in Perth, but this was something else. And Harrison's kind of oblivious to this because he's young, carefree. I mean, that is how you should live life. So I don't envy that. Sorry, I didn't begrudge you of that. But you're walking down in like a vest, and it was like LA palm trees and stuff. And there's all these guys in cars like who the fuck's this dickhead? And you're just like swagging a bit. And I remember, like, I've never been scared on tour, and I was just like, somebody put a jacket on him now, please.
Young and oblivious.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it
we
was
did a
absolutely-
lap at the town centre, didn't we? And it was fucking grim.
Yeah, the gig was just as grim, man. Fucking hell. Cheers, Matt Seddon, for putting us on. Really good guy, good promoter and that. But yeah, it wasn't the night for us. It wasn't the crowd. But
No, it was more of a fucking deathcore fucking night or something, wasn't it, man? We were like the poppiest band I think that's ever played in that venue.
for sure.
And we thought we were pretty heavy at that point.
It was like a metal bar, I guess, wasn't it?
Yeah. Did we stay there that night? I can't remember. Did we?
Nah, we got the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah, got out of Dodge. Sensible.
Do you remember Derby? Do you remember the day we rocked up? This just goes to show, like, you can have all the production, you can have all your big shows and your banners. We showed up to Derby and they were like, "We'll put you on for 40 minutes. Put you on for 20 minutes. We're having an outdoor festival in a wee beer garden." So we thought it was going to be pretty shit. Yeah, so we went there, set up our stuff like in front of people. We had no space to move, but the guy was an amazing sound engineer. We played so fucking tight. It was so great. We just played like 4 songs and then walked off stage, and everyone there, Tellison, sound guy, and that was like, that was sick as fuck. Then we got the shit in the van and just had a great day watching bands. Stayed with Party Marty, met the Merrick's Tusk boys.
Sorry.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And we knew him through a Plastic Rose.
Oh yeah.
I think that's top
there
5
was
gigs
that were great
we've ever done, man.
Something's Tusk, Merrin's Tusk.
Merrick's Tusk.
Tusk, yeah.
Merrick's Tusk.
Great guys. We played loads of shows with those boys, didn't we?
I think I've got like a wee. Hang on, I'm gonna go get my little. I remember having like a little book of doodles. I think I had like one Party Marty or something. Give me a sec.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Honestly, like
I completely forgotten about that show, but I remember now it's like upstairs in some like very random little venue.
No. That was a
it was in a
Chameleon
beer
in
garden.
Nottingham. This one was just in a wee square, and it was
it was
sunny.
in a beer garden.
I don't remember that at all then.
Yeah, it was a quality setup.
I remember playing a gig with Merrick's Tusk like upstairs, and then we got a Subway afterwards.
That was a Chameleon in Nottingham.
Yeah, Nottingham.
I don't know what you're on about then.
So it was like we went there. It was a sunny day. We went into this pub. It looked like just a pub, but then you went through the back. You quickly realised by looking at stuff on the wall that it was like young kind of like punk folk that owned the pub. You then went through the back, and it was just like a wee courtyard with a wee stage, and the guy had one of these iPads doing the sound, and we played, and then Tellison played last, and we only got 20 minutes to play, but it was amazing. And after, we were like, we don't have anywhere to stay, and this Merrick's Tusk guys were saying, we're staying in this big house with this guy called Party Marty. Now, he only lets people stay who he thinks are sound, so you better hear a word with him. And we went, hey mate, like, we can sleep in our van, it's no bother, but we heard you might have some spare rooms, and the boys, he's like that. And who do you know? Yeah, the Lung.
Oh, the Lung.
He's like, who is it you know in the scene and that? And I was like, all right, well, we know these Irish boys, Plastic Rose. He was like, fucking sure, Jerry and I are cracking. So that was the CV. Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. That's class.
And I hadn't been sleeping the whole tour because I was sharing beds with Rob, because Rob loved Rob. But he has sleep apnea. So yeah, Party Marty had a lung, and I don't smoke a lot of weed, but I took several hits of that lung because I was knackered, and I woke up like just cuddled into Rob in the morning. Best night's sleep of my life.
I think that might have been the night before. Was that like the night before Canterbury?
Beautiful.
That came afterwards.
Shit, yeah, Canterbury, man.
That was
such a beautiful.
That was one of the worst nights sleep.
Yeah, that was because we were basically on the floor of a pub, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
I have a recollection of a very loud and a loud laptop fan.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
Rob asked to shut it off.
I can't remember the name of the promoter now, man. Charlie Vanstone.
I think he was just a sound guy, man. But we stayed with him. Yeah, he was sound as fuck. Like just.
Did we not play with the Irish boys as well? Did we play with them?
No, we played with our Engineer Record label mates.
Yeah, were they not called Irish?
No. Oh, I thought you said Irish. Yeah, they were called Irish. Yeah.
I didn't get Iris. Right.
Yeah, Irish, yeah, man. Yeah, they were a really good band.
Yeah, they were, man. This
Good
is
guys, like.
this is a photo from that night. Do you remember how beautiful Canterbury was?
Oh
Yeah,
man, there was like
it was
castle
like
walls and
a
stuff,
fairy
wasn't there?
tale. It was like a fairy tale.
Rob looks happy to be on merch. Eh?
With your beanies.
I was experimenting with the blue steel look back then, so I didn't quite get that one right. Just looked like I was permanently pissed off all the time. Yeah, that was a great tour. Fuck yeah, we played so many like quality little places, like totally random places.
Well, the thing was, we would never say no to a gig as long as they paid us. I was willing. That's how Balcom came about. Remember, all of us being like, "Don't know if it's worth it going down to like a working man's pub for 50 quid." And it was like, right, cool, I'll tell him that. And then like he was like, "No, we'll pay you more. We want to get like bands here." And we were a bit dubious, but he was paying us what we wanted. Went down, just realised it was just older rockers who'd moved to a nice wee place, and great crowd, loads of merch sold, like friends for life, and tons of beer and a beautiful place to stay. It just shows you, don't turn your nose up to shit.
I still remember that first. Well, I think because I remember, did I not play there a second time? But I was filling in on the bass.
Yep.
But that first gig, I just remember being blown away by just how welcomed we were and how lovely they were.
So we all played the first time,
and
then Harrison played without you, and it was a huge gig supporting the Blockheads. And then you played most recently, Taylor, when Rob couldn't come on tour because of that crazy snow. You filled in on the bass, but yeah, every time we go there, and we went there a couple of times in the middle of that as well.
Yeah, no, I love that. Rich, what an absolute legend and a gentleman him and his family are.
What a
looked after
unbelievable venue. I'm happy to have made out of there alive. Catastrophic traffic incident I was involved in was pretty bad.
What was that?
What?
I left the venue on the second occasion. Then it was in a minor traffic incident on the way to a different accommodation.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Is that right?
Remember that? Yeah, yeah, that was after the Blockheads, wasn't it?
A separate accommodation. I like that.
Anyways, I remember. Do you remember Le Pop Inn? That was a good one for me as well.
That was so good. Remember how crazy it was driving in Paris, man? Like just scooters and cars and all sorts coming from every direction.
You guys are glazing over. For once, I'm going to take some credit there. Remember we went to the Le Pop Inn and we'd played it before in the previous lineup and we never had a drummer. And then we went to this time and there was a limiter on the vocal mics.
Oh, yeah. Man,
so I could not... We've played it 3 times and the third time they had just got a license that they couldn't do anything. So Taylor was there. We had to play a cappella. But every time we fucking get it all. We've never been able to play there in a full band. But that second time, we just turned everything up normal volume, and I just screamed like with no mic, and they fucking loved it. Those Frenchies.
Well, there was like a decibel limit in the place, but it would like cut out. It wouldn't just limit it.
Yeah, it wouldn't just compress it or anything, would it? Yeah.
Cut off the PA. But again, yeah, I remember I think he was the guy that ran it as well, but he was on the bar too.
Dennis.
The guy along, like, yeah, he was absolutely lovely. I remember he had a really good handshake.
Last time we played, he'd been so stressful because the Parisian authorities were like doing a lot of issues basically with the gigs. So with gigs, live gigs, music in the middle of the city. So we went and we travelled all that distance through the snow and everything. And he was like in tears. He was like, "I'm so sorry. We can't play the gig. We can't have a microphone in." And I only found this out today. And we were like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Can we play through the amps but quiet, the acoustic?" He's like, "Yes, but no mic, so we can't do it." I went, "Mate, don't worry. I'm loud as fuck." So we just like put everything on. I'm just like belting shit out.
It's like a low key.
Yeah, the Parish boys are singing along.
Plugged in a little bit, I guess.
It was amazing, man, and everyone there loved it, and he was so thankful that like we just had the attitude to just do it rather than like kick up a fuss. Yeah. But yeah, I love Paris, man. We've only ever played like one proper gig there, though. Every other time there's been something up, but yeah, it's been a great place.
I just remember like the drive, because we had loads of time as well to get to Paris and then to Karlsruhe, and we would obviously France has got a lot of toll roads and stuff. We just avoided the toll roads. We drove through some incredible scenery, didn't we, to get firstly to Paris and then from there down to Karlsruhe. Man, it was just incredible, like driving through like Alsace and stuff like that, and just it was the middle of the summer, or I think it was the start of the summer, wasn't it, that tour? So it was like 30 degrees. It was just beautiful.
I remember, I think I brought like an American football. We were just like running around in like random fields, throwing this ball around. It was class.
Totally, man.
Yeah,
service stations.
I remember you guys saying how beautiful the views were, but I just remember like being in the back of the van, which
had the windows.
Not have any windows in the back.
Have you ever sat in the front of a van?
I was either asleep or playing Pokemon, if I remember correctly.
The only time
never sat in the front once.
The only time Tim was in the front of a van was on the tour, the big O2 Academy tour. Because he was in the front the night of the Coronation Chicken Sandwich.
That's right.
That's the only time I can remember Taylor being in the front of the van.
Never again.
Like, starting to squirm and be like, "Hey Taylor, pass me that drink," and you just be like.
But Taylor would sometimes complain about not being in the front, and then you'd be like, "All right, but if you're in the front, you're not sitting playing the DS and that," and he'd be like, "All right, I'll just sit in the back."
Yeah, totally.
Why can't I sit in the front? Well, if you sit in the front, you have to help navigate, and you're not allowed to play.
You've got to give Rob biscuits when he needs them.
No, I'll stay in the back.
Biscuit.
That was so good, man. In the emergency, like Haribo supply.
Biscuit.
Yeah. Rob is really, for anyone listening, he's very susceptible to sugar rushes. So he'd be driving along like, "Oh, getting right tired, man," and then you just like put a sugary sour cherry in his mouth, like.
Oh man, so good.
So rock and roll. Like, guys, I really need a tank fastic.
Exactly.
Motley Crue were all about their drugs and Jack Daniels, man. We came to go with Tang Fastics.
Yeah, little bourbon creams.
Mainline and Haribos.
That's it. Liquid Haribo.
So if we move to, obviously all that was kind of, I don't really know the exact timeline of, so you guys joined this in 2013, and then Teen Park and all that was 15, was it?
14.
So how long?
So I think your last show was Tuts in December 2015. And that was when you broke about 18 strings, Kyle, which is unusual for you.
Fucking hell.
Those Shan Plectrums, remember, they were like basically turned into like throwing stars or something.
So we were filming the gig and I was like, sweet, headlining King Tuts again, third time, let's film it, let's get a live recording. Everything was fine, and I asked somebody to go and get me some red Plex, and they were like, "Oh, the Dunlop ones weren't available." I went, "These will be fine then." And they were just snapping and like literally slicing through like guitar strings. I think twice I had to restring them, and then I used Taylor's guitar, and then I broke one in his, and then I just like sung for the last two songs. I was like, "This is horrendous. Just throw the recording out. I don't even want to hear it."
They were just micro-shaped razor blades the whole time.
Totally, man, totally. So that was what, 2013 to 15, you're saying, Rob?
Yeah, so I can't remember exactly when in 2013 you joined. I reckon it was maybe about like March, April time, something like that anyway.
Boys, we packed it in 2 years, eh?
Did a lot in 2 years. I mean, we
fucking
spotted,
we were busy.
Spotted the excerpts on the Scottish tour, man. There was some Oramore, that was an unbelievable gig, sold out.
Say Oramore gig was class, because I remember, because it was quite last minute and there wasn't like a rider or anything, so admittedly it was like the first, I don't know about you guys, but I remember not like it was the first like properly sober gig I'd played in a while. That's like, oh no, this is quite easy. And then I think I stopped drinking before shows for quite a while after that one.
I remember you saying like, wow, that's the first time I've played without a beer and I'm just going to do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because remember they recorded, they did like a live EP, didn't they? And I remember me and Harrison like strategically placing ourselves right next to the mics that were on the sound desk for the crowd, so you can 100% hear us singing along at every single word there because we were massive Exits fanboys back in the day.
I think we made that record, Rob, you and me.
Into Murray a few times and just being like the weirdest fucking guy ever every single time.
I think it had been like prefaced by the fact that you'd been like tagged on Facebook a few times as Murray because people hadn't figured out whether it was you or him.
Look like him. I don't know if I guess I don't look too dissimilar, I guess. Yeah, I think it was the Flood of Red. It was when Flood of Red and the Excerpts played at Tuts. Someone tagged me in the crowd as Murray, I believe.
Right, so I honestly can't believe that. So yeah, we played Teen Apart, Wicker Man, Expo North a bunch of times, headline Tuts 3 times, 3 UK tours, into Europe a couple of times. Not full European tours, but a couple of trips. We recorded an album, an EP. I've not even got this written down. That's just from memory, but I cannot believe that's 2 years. I thought you were in it till like 2017.
No, but I think we must have. I feel like I did a few shows like later than that as well. I feel like it got like, I think there was a period where we were like doing loads, and then there was maybe a few like sort of extension shows. Like I think there was a show like in Glasgow at the Student Union, for example, that was a bit afterwards.
Yeah, the QMU one, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So that was like
I think it was like 2 years full on, and then
you guys had left the band. You guys had left the band at that point, but I think we had this show coming up and asked if you would play, and we did. And I remember it was a really nice vibe. Like that's some fucking facial.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was good, and it was kind of like we'd had time apart, and I think it wasn't like you were going to rejoin the band or anything, but it really was. I think we can get into this in a sec because obviously people always just ask me because I'm the one around, but you know, we never ever fell out. It was amicable as fuck, but obviously we were all, I think we would all admit this quite happily and proudly, high strung about wanting things to be right, and I think that always made, I think to our credit, that made how much we did and how long we did that for really a good thing, because it was never a stress-free period when we were working, you know. But I think that space,
because it was about the music we were doing. Exactly. We never argued outside the creative process, I guess.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, I think having that space when it was like, nah, this is done now. But then coming back and playing that gig, and not thinking we were going to get back together, but it was like, oh, it's great, because we'd been doing some auditions with random people, Robbie, and some of them were better than others, let's just put it that way. And I think playing again, even though we hadn't had a lot of jams, I think you guys did it mostly from just listening to the recordings, and it's songs you'd never played before. I think we played that and we were all like, fucking hell, yeah, we're good together, you know. It's not going to continue, but it was good shit, you know.
I remember that as well, like doing the show, and like I think they get the tunes that were like part of the old set. It was kind of it was a weird feeling. Like it was like the back of your hand. It was like you were smashing them out, not even thinking about it. And then there was a couple of tunes that were obviously new, and it was like you had to concentrate a lot harder for them because like I had to like learn them.
Yeah.
But somehow it still felt very natural because it was like just like being back in the groove basically.
100%. So I don't even think, because I always thought you guys would go on to do something else. I know you flirted with it, Taylor, and I'm sure you maybe done some session stuff, Harrison, but what was your reasons for kind of wanting to, were you just had enough of it really, or did you want like hassle-free fucking spare time? Because literally all our weekends, all our evenings were just fucking the band, weren't they? Like I put my hands up, I pushed this pretty fucking hard.
Oh, I mean, we were jamming about 12 hours a week at that point.
I wanted to like make an attempt to kind of getting a degree, and I'm very bad at like spinning plates. I kind of need to focus on one thing, and I messed that up anyway. But I think I just felt like I needed a bit of a change, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just starting to feel like a little bit full on, I guess. I remember.
Yeah, I think for me, I think
awful about having to tell you guys that. I remember being really. I remember being at the beer hall.
Pizzas outside.
I quite a vivid memory of Harrison like really slowly bring it up, and I was just like, "Stop talking, Harrison. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. We're gonna have to leave the band." Yeah, it wasn't a good feeling. It felt like a breakup or something.
Of course.
Well,
It always does, man. Yeah.
I remember that as well too. Because obviously, like, well, A, we're brothers, and B, we were like living together at a time, so that like, I think naturally our kind of decision had kind of like combined into being one like singular decision for the both of us. But I think it was tough because it was like we'd had this obviously like fantastic year with, I think, like the Tea in the Park year and putting out the album, and it wasn't that we'd like stopped enjoying ourselves or anything. I think it was just that like somehow we kind of got to a point where I guess what we were looking to kind of pursue in kind of longer term had got to a point where it wasn't like aligning kind of perfectly with what was going on in the band, and it wasn't like the music, or wasn't anything, it wasn't anything personal. But I think we just, yeah, it got to the point where we realized that like what we wanted to do was kind of out with the band, and it was like shit, and it was tough, and it was kind of horrible to say that. But I'm so glad that we were able to do it in a way that wasn't breaking up friendships or anything.
100%.
Yeah, I think it was good that we were able to like still do a couple of shows and like show that we were still like didn't want to like leave you guys in the lurch at all, but equally like didn't want to be hanging around when we knew we weren't fully committed ourselves.
100%. Yeah. No, I think it was probably from all sides, because from us we didn't make it awkward as well. I remember like afterwards going, oh, fuck, do they think I don't care? Because I was really conscious about not letting it linger or sitting going, yeah, you know, I was just like, all right, fair enough, man. Like, what pizzas are you having? We just ate pizza and drunk beers, and yeah, it was hard. But I think, you know, you can sometimes sense these things. Not for a second was I thinking, you know, they're going to come and tell us tonight that they want to leave the band. But it wasn't like this big, like, sucker punch, shocking thing. I knew we were all still friends. So, yeah, what can you do? Yous are that bit younger than us too. So yous guys had other things you wanted to tick off. And not at all that I'm saying, like, it was last chance. So, you know, at all. We're still young guys. But we certainly weren't going to be going to uni or doing things like that. So, yeah, it was certainly like, right, cool, man. That's the decisions yous have made, you know. And the years you gave us, like, we couldn't. I'll speak for Rob here, but we couldn't have asked for anything more, man. Like, as I said, giving up at your age as well, whole weekends, Friday nights, Saturday nights, all day Saturday, like literally those curtains closed, baking hot sun. I mean, we all did it. When I moved to Glasgow, you know, I was travelling through on a train Friday night right after work, playing, sleeping on a couch at yours or at Rob's, playing all day Saturday, going home Saturday. You know, we all sacrificed tons for fucking years just to make it work.
I have such
I think it was like
memories of those weekend practices because just again more relaxed than having to rent a studio or something, and the fact that you guys could just come round to like our folks' house and just feeling like we were becoming like a really tight band. And I remember I always look forward to those practices. It was good. It was great.
Yeah, I think it was also tough. Like, I think definitely for me, like that year, I guess it was 2014 with like Tea in the Park, and obviously we'd released the album. I think it was like we had a lot of momentum that year, and I know that I definitely, at least personally, found it hard to kind of, that momentum obviously took us places, and we got lots of different things, and it was radio and it was shows. But I think like once I think that kind of peak somehow passed, it was quite hard to kind of keep pushing myself forward beyond that. And yeah, I think personally that was quite a difficult thing to kind of ride that wave and then deal with kind of the like not the aftermath, but like getting back to normal after that. I think was quite difficult.
Mm-hmm. What you saying, Robs?
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I think it would have been difficult to sustain that for much longer. I think just, you know, we did so much and we packed so much into those kind of 2 years. You know, it would have been really difficult to sustain that for another kind of year or two without having to make massive sacrifices in our personal lives, or because it was like you say, it was literally for 18 months or so. It was we would finish work on a Friday. When it wasn't kind of uni time, you'd be coming through to Perth, Kyle. When it was uni time, I'd be going through, and we'd jam at your flat that you were staying at, Harrison Taylor. So, it was a good sort of at least 12 hours a week we were practicing. Considering people were at uni, people had full-time jobs, and that it was a huge commitment. It wasn't like we were professional musicians and that's all we had to do. And the stuff we did, man, was crazy. If you think about it, we didn't have like rich parents throwing money at promoters and labels. We didn't have mates who were running like booking agencies and all that sort of stuff. We had to kind of fight and scrap for every single thing that we did, and I'm really proud of the fact that we never got a favour from anyone, really, did we? We did it all on our own merit, because we worked hard and the tunes were great.
Yeah, that's for me. For what Harrison said there and what you're saying there, Rob, it's not a finger of blame to anybody, because for whatever reason, promoters or agents did overlook us, and that could have been something personal, it could have been taste, it could have just been that they had their eyes elsewhere and we just weren't on the radar for whatever reason. But for me, when we got Tea Break, we got all the festivals that surrounded that, like Wicker Man and Expo North, and we were doing our own tours, always self-funded. We sold out Tuts a few times, we sold out ABC2. At that point, all we needed was somebody to say, not even like an Excerpts or a Twin Atlantic, but someone to say, right, fucking early November, we're on tour. You're going to support them at fucking ABC1 or something. All we needed was that one or two support slots to like be able to steal 700 fans as opposed to just 200 fans. Because literally we'd hit a ceiling where from our personal networks and from what we were pushing, we weren't able to at that point go, and people might listen into this and go, oh, woe's me, boo-hoo, but that's just a fact. Like, I'm not saying we couldn't have done things different, promoted different. We totally could have, but in terms of what was our experience and how we knew how to promote, we'd got ourselves to a really cool place, but just weren't able to smash through the ceiling. And I think if we just got that wee help, I think things could have been even better, but who actually knows? I think all you can say is, things were fucking class. We did really well. And, it's always like, what's making it? Like, I remember reading an interview from a band I really like, I can't remember who, but they were like, by the way, this feeling that you have, it was like a message to all young musicians. It was like, whatever level you're at, it'll never be enough. It's like when you're a young, like 14-year-old, to think that somebody you don't know would have your song as one of their favourites, to think you would travel somewhere, people would pay you and put you up just to be there. They'd be delighted you came. To then think you'd like play a festival, to headline a show, to make a record that people buy. It doesn't matter if it's one person, 100 people, 1,000 people. It's like all these stages. And yeah, when you're touring all over, all year round, you're then going to be like, why isn't it stadiums? Why is it only venues? And when it's stadiums, you're like, why am I only doing 10 and not all year? And, it never ends. So I think putting the goals where, certainly when I was young, we ticked off way more than I realistically ever thought I would. So I count that as a success.
Yeah, I always think back to starting guitar when I was like a 10-year-old, and then realizing after kind of getting into my 20s that I'd ticked a lot of the boxes that I wanted to as a kid with you guys and band before and stuff. It's like, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, totally, man. So yeah, I found it harder when I was a bit younger and a bit more. Not that I'm not ambitious, but I think when you're in the thick of it, if your analogy is like when you're in the trenches with it, the 12 hours, driving everywhere, playing Inverness, coming home, going to work the next day, going down south, coming back, going to work the next day. When you're in the thick of that, you're so fucking tenacious about it. I think when you step back, you go, I'm fucking pretty happy with that. I'd like to do some more. But if I don't, it's not going to mean anything was failed. Like you did your best, and that was good, So
yeah, 100%, man.
On that subject, is there anything? I said last night that this word is strong, and it is strong. but like, it doesn't need to be regrets. But is there anything we could have done better or handled differently, or is there anything we didn't do but should have that we wanted to as a band or as individuals?
I
guess for me it was just.
I'll have a ponder on that. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Cool. I'll repeat that. Let me repeat that quickly for Harry. So it's maybe not a regret, Harrison, but is there anything that you think, and then we'll let Rob answer, that we should have done that we didn't do, or something we did do that we shouldn't have, we should have done better, or a blatant regret in the band? You ever think about that? But Rob, what were you saying?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, it was not really like a regret. It was just more like an aspiration or a kind of, to tick something off the list, man. I always really wanted to play the Barras. For me, like, you talk about when you're talking about your, your dreams and your aspirations and your goals and that, and it might just be, right, I just want to, play a show where I'm the headliner, and then it might be I want to, sell out a show and, all that sort of stuff. For me, I'm just kind of gutted that we never got a chance to play at the Barras. Obviously, probably not headlining it, but even just, support. I know we've like played some amazing, like pretty much played every great venue in Glasgow, you know what I mean? Like played the Garage, played Autumn Moor, played Tuts, played ABC, played like quality places, like iconic places like Block and Sleazy's and stuff like that. So I think the Barras was kind of the only venue in Glasgow really that we never got to play. Obviously played like the QMU as well. So for me it was just, you kind of linked into it a wee bit about we just never got that kind of luck or whatever it was we needed to get those supports, man. So it would have been great to have like got a support at the Barras, supporting like some, amazing bands that were coming through there all the time.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the rest of the stuff, man, I've not really got any regrets at all about that period of the band. I think, we pushed it as hard as we could. I don't think we could have pushed it any harder, to be honest, given, that we weren't, solely doing this full time. I thought we kind of made the best of the opportunities that we had. Played like amazing venues, played like Tina Park, which was an incredible experience. So I've not really got any regrets really. I mean, it was just for me, just kind of just not being able to tick that last thing off my bucket list.
What are you saying, Har?
Yeah, I think similar to Rob, like definitely no like regrets in terms of what we did. Like I totally agree. It felt like we were kind of doing everything we could at the time. And I think now in particular, because obviously like I think Taylor and I were both students at the time, and realizing like now that I obviously work full time and realizing the amount of kind of effort and time commitment that yourself, Kyle, and Rob put in as kind of working full time was obviously not easy. And I think now I appreciate that even more. Like the amount of effort put into the band is not to kind of be taken for granted. I think in terms of shows that we put in, like I don't really think there's one that you can obviously understand. Yeah, it would have been sweet to play the Barras, but it's not a particular regret because I think we kind of did everything we could have done to get ourselves in that position.
Mm-hmm.
I think just like from a selfish perspective, like it's a shame we didn't kind of. I think on the Tea in the Park set, it's always a frustration of mine that we don't have like more footage from that. But I don't think that's anything we did wrong. I think it's just how it goes in terms of how the footage plays out. But I honestly don't think I've got any major regrets. I think it was just the lay of the land that year in 2014. I think we did kind of maximise what we had. I think it's kind of out with our control, the fact that it may not have gone how we kind of dreamed of it, but we definitely give it a good shot as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that photography thing, we obviously spoke about it at the start. I'll always think that, but like we said, if you could get all that footage and not have had the day we had from start to finish with everyone there and the party, I don't think I would change it.
It's a compromise, and I remember that obviously we had everyone there. Like my dad got to be there, and like for anyone who doesn't know, like Taylor and myself, like my dad's has been a musician his whole kind of career, and he's a like number one fan, a huge supporter, and just as an example, having him there on that day and seeing us was absolutely massive for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, could we have had better footage? Yeah, but if that had meant at the sacrifice of our dad getting to see us play like the top festival in Scotland, would I choose it? Probably not.
No, of course not, man.
So yeah, just that's one kind of selfish example, but I think it tells the story quite well.
That's not selfish. I mean, that's incredible, isn't it? Because yeah, he's been doing great things as a musician his whole life, and then see you guys do that. Doesn't. I mean, to be honest, me and Rob would have been aware of this. Ian was always so gracious and really supportive of us as well. But he wouldn't have given a fuck what band it was in. Just seeing his sons up on that stage, like unreal. So good on him, man. No, so I get that. Totally agree with that, man. What about you, T?
Nah, he would have told us if he thought it was crap.
yeah, he would definitely.
I know that.
Although that was always good because I always knew that if he said it was good, then I kind of had a bit more belief that it was good because he wouldn't just say it was good even if he thought it was crap.
That's the best way to be, man. Do you have any kind of thoughts like that, T, or is everything all right for you?
I probably would again similar, kind of just agreeing with what you guys. I think you guys were just saying there. Yeah, struggling to really think of anything major, really.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think that shows, because I've got one kind of regret, other than like we daft things, like me and Rob will speak about, like, should we have maybe played the game, kissed a bit more ass, like done this, done that, but they're not regrets, they're just like, should we have sacrificed this to get that? And probably not. Could have been a bit smarter about things, maybe. But in terms of just organically, I don't have any major regrets. There is one thing that, and I really appreciate you saying that there, Harrison, about like now you work full time, realising, it's not like we all did the same hours, but it's like what those hours were to boys. And that was, by the way, that's never anything me or Rob talked about, like, oh, they don't even fucking work. It's just how it was. You're younger guys, but obviously you do feel it when you've got, and not only a full-time job, obviously you've got a fiance now, so someone that, if you're spending all your time not with them, quite rightly, it's a bit of an issue sometimes, even if they're so supportive. So I will admit that at times when decisions were being made, I kind of felt, and this is me as a younger guy too, I've grown a lot as well, but I would sometimes feel a bit like, well, no, I do have a bit more say in this and that, and that's the wrong attitude to have. You can feel that way, but you can express it a bit differently. And obviously we had that famous West Brewery night where you were like, I really don't think I'll like this album if this track's on it, and I was just like, I don't care. I mean, that's a pretty horrific thing to say. But
no, I think we all just had strong feelings about that.
The thing was, me and Rob have spoke recently about that, and I think I just assumed you guys would know where I was coming from, whereas like I didn't mean that I don't care how you felt. I was just like, well, I'm not going to like mince my opinion because yous have got feelings. I'm telling you this is exactly what I think. But that was definitely just a bit of like fuck's sake, man, I'm putting every fucking time I've got into this and that, and we're definitely, yeah, I think I could have been a better communicator back then, and yeah, I definitely don't think I was very easy to work with, but I also know that I gave a lot to whoever was in the band, so I think they kind of come one with the other sometimes,
I understand as well the fact that obviously that Harris and I are brothers and we were living together, it was almost like we were always kind of one opinion as like a set as well, so that I can see how that would have probably been a bit annoying.
It is how it is, man. Like I say, all the cons come with the pros. Like the intensity I had maybe in sometimes being fucking pig-headed. If I didn't have that intensity, I probably wouldn't have pushed the other things. And if you guys hadn't lived together and shared those same opinions, you probably wouldn't be as tight and be as passionate as you were about the things you brought to the table. So yeah, it's not regrets either, man. If we hadn't been friends after that, it would have been a huge regret. But I think the fact we are meant
things fall out over. I think the fact that we had such strong opinions about it just means that we cared about the project as well.
Yeah.
If we'd come in going like, oh yeah, we'll just whatever, like easy ozy, I think that would have been worse if anything, because like we would have just indicated that we didn't care about it.
100%. Right, I've got a couple more, and then we can either drink off into the night, unrecorded, or go to our beds. We can do these a wee bit more quick fire, or elaborate if you like. What's your proudest moment in the band? That could be personally or what we did. I think it's maybe an obvious one. I don't know.
Is everyone else just thinking Tea in the Park as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. No brainer there, really.
Yeah.
More also the fact that it's no longer a thing anymore, and it's such a part of like Scottish, like recent Scottish kind of music history, and it was something that I remember growing up, not like as a kid, like you hear about Tea in the Park and stuff, and there's this kind of like this herald thing.
Totally, man. It's
just
also the
really,
last one in Perthshire. It was the last proper Tea in the Park.
Yeah.
was actually the last one.
Yeah, then they took it to the castle and it was a nightmare.
Yeah, Strathallan, wasn't it?
To be part of like that, I guess now historic festival.
100%, man.
I think, obviously, yeah, like, not going to disagree, Tea in the Park was it, but I think for me, if I had to think of like a top three, it was like Tea in the Park was amazing. I think the album launch show at the O2 ABC in Glasgow was unreal.
Yeah.
And I also think, in some ways, from a kind of localistic Perth perspective, the big show at the Loft was also pretty fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if I had to kind of think of three more kind of local shows that really felt like highlights, that would probably be my three.
100%, man. Yeah, that's a really good point. What about this as well? Now, I think all of us are in the same boat when we know music isn't a competition. It certainly isn't anything like that. But fucking, this was pretty special.
Oh wait, hang on a second. Yeah.
Best rock alternative band.
Still can't stand like a normal person, but I'm pretty sharply dressed if I don't say so myself.
Fucking right, you are, man. I mean, obviously,
did we win that?
Yeah, we did win.
Yeah, we did. That's it there.
Yeah, I was chuffed. That was great. That was a really good feeling.
Did we play that gig as well?
Yeah,
we played. Because we were up against some stiff competition, wasn't it? I remember Catholic Action, they were like the massive band, weren't they, on the scene, and they're doing amazing things. And it was kind of like one of those, like, we were a bit pessimistic, weren't we? We were like, well, we've done well to get nominated and get to, the final. At least we're getting to play on the night and stuff. And it was like, holy shit, we actually won, man. And then, like, just kind of everyone reaching out to us and just congratulating us and stuff. And it was actually, you guys really deserved it.
Like, I didn't care if we won or lost, because music is not a fucking competition. It's same as art. Like, I can look at art and go, that shit, someone pays $1 million. They go, that shit. I go, fuck, I'd buy that for a couple £100. Do you know what I mean? Art is art. But the pro of that's why if we lost, it didn't matter. But the fact we did win means that, like, so many people voted for us, and that's just fucking nice. You know what I mean? Like, they don't need to do that. So to me, that was just like a vocal appreciation award from actual fans, which was pretty nice. But yeah, I would agree with those moments, Harry. That was some fucking good times. This could be a fun one. I'll actually finish on the fun one. This one, what would you say is this? And we'll all have to do an answer here and then come up with a consensus. But what is the song that defined our era together from us?
That's a difficult.
It's difficult, and it might not be your favorite. Like last night, Chick didn't pick his favorite song, but he like nailed. Titles was like a really special one. But yeah, like it could be a favorite song, or it could be just like, what do you think encapsulates the time or the feeling? It could be the writing, the recording.
I'm gonna just throw out as a star for 10. I'm gonna throw out Bastard, because I feel like it was an early one, but I feel like even though we put it out straight away, we couldn't get rid of it, and we couldn't stop playing it because everyone always wanted it, and it was kind of like, it was a tune that we couldn't get rid of because it was always a big favorite in the set.
I remember us really working hard on just tweaking that one.
Yeah.
Quite extensively as well, because I guess you think it's like it's kind of one of the more kind of simple songs in terms of parts and structure and things, but we we spent a long time like fine tuning that one.
Do you remember showing up?
The first one that really it was really obvious that resonated with the crowds and stuff as well.
Do you remember showing up to Elgin where we didn't know anyone and it was like a packed room and they're all singing songs back to us?
Oh, that was such a good gig, man.
And they demanded Bastard Son. Like, we did an encore of it. And then they wanted it again. So we played it 3 times. I
couldn't say I didn't, but I remember having...
I don't know memory of that gig.
Yeah.
And we finished it. We encored with Bastard Son. And they were like, one more song. We went, what, another song? They went, Bastard Son, Bastard Son. All right.
Yeah.
Played it again. My voice was fucked, man, honestly. Unbelievable. It was 15.
I do remember like that being our go-to encore. And it was one of those things where it's like, I think you like when you watch other bands and stuff, you know they've got one song up their sleeves that they're always going to play as an encore. And it felt like a little bit cringe, but at the same time it felt kind of cool knowing you were that band that, you know, you had that song up your sleeve that everyone wanted, that you were going to do your set, and then you're going to go down, 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 do, 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 do. And you're going to go into it. It was cool.
That was
definitely
That's the wrong intro.
Oh no, that's Stallions.
Stallions.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I get you. It was just
yeah.
But yeah, I know
wasn't it?
I know what you mean, bro. Rob, have you got a different answer?
It's either, for me, it's either going to be Bastard Son or Paradise Place. I think they were our two kind of like biggest kind of songs, I guess, in terms of like reaction from the press and more importantly from the fans. I think, you know, just kind of hitting on there. Like whenever we played Bastard, everyone was singing along. Everyone loved it. Such a great vibe, like playing a song that you know everyone is into and loving as much as you're loving playing it, man. So that, and I guess Paradise Place as well. You know, it was the first song we wrote together properly. We've got great reaction from it. You know, we did like an amazing video with our good pal Tom Mitchell. You know, the video shooting that was such a good laugh as well. You know, like in and about Perth, the story. Just had like an amazing day, didn't we?
Yeah, man. I mean, I hadn't even, I'll be honest, I hadn't even thought of Bastard Son as like one. I was going to say Paradise Place, but I think if I've got the cast and vote here, I will go Bastard Son purely because, like we said, Paradise Place, so proud of that, and we wrote it together, but every single gig we played, Bastard Son is what people wanted to hear, and it made people lose their minds. It was fucking class, man. So yeah, and I also remember just like, yeah, that was one of the first ones we recorded in the studio, and like hearing it back, I still think, and this is not a derogatory thing, I don't have any sort of reasons, I don't think that the other songs have been poor recorded, not at all, prerequisite just laid down there, but I think that Paradise Place EP is the best Bruce ever recorded us. Like, not my favourite song, like they're great songs, but I feel like everyone should, I feel the stuff I write now is better because I'm a better writer because I've kept writing all these years, you know. But I think sonically, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it sounds like absolutely on the money. The other ones are great, but I think it packs such a punch for those songs in that EP. They sound fucking huge every time I listen to it.
I'm gonna have to. It's been a while since I've listened to them.
Honestly, I think it sounds much bigger than the album tracks. And although our songs are now much more heavy, I think like Bastard Son, Stallions, Paradise Place sound bigger than us with big turned up distortion in the last recordings we've done. So yeah, I would really recommend everyone goes to Spotify right now.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I've definitely found myself like from time to time just, you know, putting in good headphones or whatever and like listening to like tunes you recorded a few years ago and like listening to them, it's like it's class and like
100%, man.
Like obviously our weekend from those tunes, and I guess off topic with Taylor, even like our tunes before that with Wigs and Rigs, like there's something about, you know, listening to music that you make at like a certain time in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it can be really like you record the music, but it's also quite like enigmatic of like what was going on in your life at that time, and it's like I think it's quite a luxury we have as like people who make music. They're like, you capture that and you record that, and it's something you can go back on for forever and listen to. It's pretty cool, actually.
Can I ask a wee question here? Insightful. Because I totally get that. How do you guys? Because I think this is special about songs. Because obviously, some of my favorite songs in the world aren't my own, and I take my own feeling from them. But I've never been in like a. They're people I don't know, so like it's like almost like I can turn their lyrics about my life because I don't even know the guy. Is that the same? Is that the same feeling when you're in a band? I've never been in a band with someone and I've not been the lyricist. Do you know what I mean? Do you know the question I'm saying? Do you guys still, are you able to still like take your own meaning and listenings from that, or is it different because it's someone you know personally?
That's a good question, I guess, because...
Or even in Kitty's lyrics, it doesn't need to be me, but like I've never been in that position. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely, because I think it was never something that I did where I explicitly asked for like an explanation of the lyrics. It would always just be my interpretation of them.
Yeah, so you do
like,
naturally.
You ever remember me? I don't know if maybe I did, but
no.
Like, obviously there'd be some more obvious. But I don't remember ever coming to ask you, be like, "Oh, what did you mean by that?" I always just was like, I was just a listener with the.
So I guess we just do it naturally then, don't we?
You'd find your own meaning in them, even with the we were in the band.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I just actually never had really thought about that before.
That never really been like a conscious thought, I guess, until now. Actually,
yeah,
100%, yeah.
Right. What's if we had to have a chat? If this was a chapter of a book of We Came from Wolves, what would our chapter be called? comedy, or sincere, whatever you want.
It's got to be
biscuit.
How many trips to A&E? Although I'm sure there's a lot of us that have been to the hospital more.
It could be, what is this, some sort of sick joke?
Oh, that was a good one.
Colder than a witch's tit.
Big Bad John. Shout out to Richie
Big Bad John. We're only making plans for Nigel.
Nigel.
Right. I've got a relevant. It's not really a doodle, but I just remember.
What's that?
Is that the right way round?
Yeah.
We're only making plans for Nigel.
Nigel's breakfast.
What about a shout out to George Fullerton when we played down in Bournemouth and he woke me up like I'm passed out cold and like I just feel someone near me and he goes, "Lazy bones, get out of bed."
Guys, things got out of hand last night. I had a Jaeger. Fucking hell, dude, settle down. Why are you calling me dude?
Dude'll be watching this, Rob. Didn't he be sassing Dude?
I love Dude. Put us up a good few times.
He's been buying some Glasgow Saints merch. Shout outs. What a legend, man. Up the Saints, up the Cherries.
Yeah, the Anvil, wasn't it? In Bournemouth.
Right, so I've got two names for the, unless someone wants to do a better one, we've got two possibles for the chapter. One is Biscuit, and one is Making Plans Fuck Nigel. I think it's making plans for Nigel, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say
it's got to be.
Well, we'll round it off with that. So yeah, lads, final words on Time Together, on Wolves version 2.
Well, just time well spent, and it's nice that we have so many fond memories that we can look back on, and that we're still friends.
Pretty good summary there. Yeah. Don't know if much else is going to top that. Rob, you look like you're going to say something.
No, just kind of echo what T said there, man. Like, it was just such an incredible time. You know, we worked so hard, but because we were having such fun and doing such amazing things, it didn't feel like it was hard work at all. It just felt like you were just hanging out with, some of your really good pals and making great music and just enjoying every minute of it. And yeah, like when you sit and look at the dates, man, you know, it's over 2.5 years. It seemed to just fly by in the blink of an eye, man.
Yeah. Any other rhymes there?
I know.
Fly by in the blink of an eye. It was like a fucking pigsty, man. Harrison, have you anything to add, or you happy with the boys?
Honestly, I think if summed it up well, like when I think back at like the beginning of time in my life when I was giving music a go for the most kind of serious way that I'd ever done, like it's, you know, we left no stone unturned. I feel really good about what we did. You know, it's a really positive time in life to look back on. I think we're really lucky that, you know, A, we had some great times, and B, we've got kind of no regrets of like major mistakes we made. It just kind of was what it was. So yeah, really positive time for me to look back on. It's so great that we kind of were able to, you know, all still be mates and look back on it.
Yeah, that's fucking very nice words there as well. I think from my point of view, I would just like to thank you, Rob as well. Obviously, Rob's going to get this and everyone, but genuinely, like, not that I think you were just doing us a favour. Like, what we've talked about this whole 2 hours is like the amazing experiences we all got, but it was never lost on me that you guys were at, you know, uni age. You were putting like going out and getting, I mean, you still fucking did your fair share of it, but you were putting a lot of nights out with not a question asked. Not once did you say, can we maybe not take this gig because I've got this fucking thing to do or that thing to do, at a time in your lives when I certainly would have been partying all the time. So yeah, dedication was top notch, boys. You took the band up to a new level of professionalism because you were both like, you know, musicians since kids due to your dad and stuff. And yeah, it was, you know, every part of this band has been some of the best times of my life. But yeah, this was definitely the busiest version. We absolutely fucking left no stone unturned. So yeah, I appreciate you, and thanks so much for being a part of it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, man.
Nice one, guys.
Right, we'll end it there and just, I don't know, phone each other.
It's making me want to see you guys. It's been so long. I feel it's a shame we just have to hang out on the internet.
Should we break COVID right now and head down to London, see Harry?
I've got a spare room. You're very welcome.
Yes. Right, boys. I'll hang up now and we'll speak soon, all right?
Cheers, guys. Oh, that is mental. I'll be your guide on your quest.
I'm just a bastard son, I am a brother to no one. My sisters are no strangers, and my mother's love can only go so far. There's a shop on the corner, it's selling dreams of a summer. Well, I think I'm gonna save my money, pack my bags and fly to somewhere warm. Because the only weather is grey here. It rained for 364 days last year, and I'm beginning to forget the feeling of the sun upon my skin. It's 5 o'clock on a Friday and I'm ready for the weekend. But my excitement disappears with realizations that I'm spending it inside. I need to make the most of what I have, but I can't help the way I'm feeling today. I'm feeling inadequate. I'm just a bastard son, I am a brother to no one. My sisters are no strangers, and my mother's love can only go so far. I'm getting so sick of fighting, and subsequently then writing about it. Cause the more I analyze it, the more I realize I'm to blame. The more I try to discover why I have nothing to offer, I realize I tried my best to teach myself the rules, but must have got them wrong. As a child I was nervous, never one participating. As I got older, did my best to try and stand my ground. And by my teens I was just doing great, but I forgot to stop the process and I became far too defensive. I'm just a bastard son, I am a brother to no one. My sisters are all strangers, and my mother's love can only go so far. I lost the only friends that I ever had, and I find it hard communicating with my own dad. So I apologize if my loneliness is starting to. I had to teach myself that I wouldn't be pushed around, but I became the one pushing others cause I was proud. Too stubborn to swallow my pride and see that I was wrong. So now I am the one they know of only through my songs. I'm just the bastard son, I am a brother to no one. My sisters are all strangers, and my mother's love can only go so far. I lost the only friends that I ever had, and I find it hard communicating with my own dad. So I apologize if my loneliness is starting to show. I'm just a bastard son, I am a brother to no one. My sisters are all strangers, and my mother's love can only